according to ESPN's Adam Schefter, the Baltimore Ravens have an agreement in principle to trade the former Super Bowl MVP to the Alliance of America. They have an agreement to trade Joe Flacco.
Where's he going? Where's he going?
The Denver Broncos. John Elway has remade the quarterback position once again and kind of reuniting Flacco with Vic Fangio, new Broncos head coach, because Flacco and Fangio spent one season together in Baltimore. And, of course, Broncos former executive coach, consultant Gary Kubiak, big fan of Flacco. Adam Schefter tweeting this out as well, has talked about how much he liked Joe Flacco. This was a big selling point for the Broncos and getting Joe Flacco. So here it is. Flacco is now going to be a member of the Broncos. Now the trade cannot be finalized until the new year begins for the NFL, but the deal has been agreed to right now, so that's March 13th. But this is a great move for the Broncos because every team is unique as far as what they need and how you go get a quarterback. Some teams go, okay, we got to go get that franchise quarterback. We got to get him at the top of the draft. We got to get our guy for the next 12 or 15 years. It's what the Browns had to do, what the Jets had to do, what the Cardinals had to do, what the Bills had to do. We got to go get our guy. Some teams say, you know what, we need a bridge quarterback. We need a guy to get us for a couple of years until we can get that franchise quarterback because we don't draft high enough in the draft to get a franchise guy. Guys aren't going to be out there free agent-wise. We need a bridge guy, so it's someone who's a little bit cheaper that maybe comes in for a couple of years. And then you get this situation where teams are loaded just about everywhere but need that quarterback to get them to the next level. Can they afford to wait and draft a quarterback? No, because the team is built to win now. So they got to go find a guy who is good enough to be there for the long term but is also available. There's not many guys like that. You have to thread a pretty tough needle. The Jacksonville Jaguars, that's exactly who they're in the market for because they're built to win right now. They got a defense that's good, but, these guys are in their prime, getting to 30, maybe a little bit past 30. They're built to win right now. It's also a pretty combustible locker room, so you got to take advantage of your opportunity before you start shipping guys off. The Broncos are also in that case because the Broncos have a pretty good team. They've remade their offense. They said goodbye to Demaryius Thomas. They've built it around Phillip Lindsay, who's a pretty good running back. Their defense is very good. They just needed somebody better than Case Keenum. Look, I could have told you last year, Case Keenum had a moment in time with the Minnesota Vikings. Sometimes you fit in with your team better than you'd fit in anywhere else. And to go get him for a couple of years or a year, all right, you kind of bridged it, but Elway has biffed the quarterback decision for a long time. Peyton Manning was great, and then it was Brock Osweiler's handpick. That didn't work out. Mark Sanchez coming in. That didn't work out. Trevor Siemian came in. It was all right for a few games, but then that didn't work out. He has biffed the quarterback decision for a long time. Flacco is someone who still has the skill set, who is a former Super Bowl MVP, who is still playing at a high enough level, has the respect of all the players in the locker room, has the respect of the coaching staff, and can come in and be a leader and be a guy that throws the football well. You go and play in Denver, you get 10 more yards on your ball regardless because of the way the air is a mile high. That's why Peyton Manning was able to have such a good last couple of years to his NFL career because he got more feet on the football because of that. So Flacco's going to extend his prime a little bit. Obviously, it's not Flacco 5-7 years ago. Is Flacco elite? Was he ever a really elite quarterback? No, but he is good enough to take the Broncos to big heights. And now suddenly everybody in the AFC West is pissed because now the Chiefs saying, now here's a team we got to worry about. The Chargers are saying, here's another team we have to worry about. Finally, John Elway got the quarterback decision right in bringing in Joe Flacco because there wasn't many other guys going to be available. He knew Flacco was available, and they pounced on him, and they got the move done early. This is a great move by Denver.
You got to think the Giants already are going to be in that sweepstakes, so for John Elway to do that early and not wait, it's a factor. And as you said, they're a veteran team, so you don't want to wait. They can't kind of experiment with a young guy. And when I think of Flacco, I think of Nick Foles. Why do I say that? There are two guys there who have done it before. I know you can win a Super Bowl. I can't say that about every quarterback in the league. And if those are your goals, I need to know I have somebody who's capable. And Tom Brady clearly is showing us that the quarterback position is a position of skill if you have the right scheme and you play football the correct way. Joe Flacco is more than capable, as you just stated. So I like the move in that regard. I'm also interested where Nick Foles ends up. Okay, where do a number of these quarterbacks that are capable, are good enough to win, where do they land? How serious are some of these organizations about winning now? I always believe you got to do it now. That's my upsetness with the Steelers and not bringing back Le'Veon Bell. You don't know how much longer you have Ben Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown, and those guys. So you don't bring back Le'Veon Bell over a money dispute. Pay the money now, cut him, worry about him later. Get the best out of what you have. If we look at basketball, I like that Philly has gone all in on Jimmy Butler, on Tobias Harris, on those guys, because as a former athlete, sometimes your window's this big, bro. Mm-hmm. And as a franchise, as an organization, sometimes you can't think about tomorrow. You got to think about today. And if you're the Denver Broncos and you're bringing in a guy like Joe Flacco, you're thinking about today. You don't know how much time you're going to have Chubb and Miller on your line. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a special situation going on that just makes sense. Now, how far over the top does this push them? I don't know. I can't guarantee it. What does Joe Flacco look like? I know one darn thing, and tell me if I'm wrong on this. He's motivated, bro.
Oh, absolutely. That's one thing. When you get later in your career and you're motivated to prove your team wrong, that's a really big deal. Jason Smith, Ryan Hollins in for Dan and the Danettes. Big news breaking right now. The Broncos have agreed to acquire Joe Flacco from the Baltimore Ravens. The deal can be official when the new league year begins on Wednesday, March 13th. Teams can't comment on that, so you're not going to hear a lot from the Broncos or the Ravens until that happens. But there's not many things I've been more right about this year than in August when I said this is how things go. When you draft a quarterback in the first round, he's going to play and play soon. It's easy to say in August, we're going to take it easy, and this guy, we're going to bring him along slow. Like, okay, that's great. Then when the footballs start flying for real, things change. The demand to see a first-round pick is always so immense. And unless Flacco had such a lights-out season, he was always going to lose the job at some point to Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson comes in middle of the season and brings a different energy to the Ravens. Not that he was coming in and suddenly he was going to be better, but sometimes you bring a different energy. And, you know, Bill Parcells would always say that the best thing is that I can't change a team by moving out the left guard. You know, I change a team by changing the quarterback. And it's not like you were taking a chance with a guy. This guy you brought in the first round. And with a limited playbook, because he was thrown right in, he brought all kinds of new talent schemes. He was running for 100 yards a week, throwing for 150, 175. He was really good. And I know that people don't want to buy into him because they think, oh, is he a gimmick quarterback? Is he going to be able to run? As long as the Ravens run their offense the way that Louisville ran theirs, and they ran it this past year, Lamar Jackson's going to the Pro Bowl. Because he can run for 100 yards every week. He's not going to throw for 300, but if he throws for 175 a week, that's all you need. That's all you need out of him because he's going to make enough plays with his legs where he's still going to be responsible for 300 yards of offense. This will cut his prime down because any quarterback that runs like Lamar Jackson, you're going to take more hits, and when you're not a big guy like Cam Newton, you'll break down a little bit earlier, but still, his prime is going to be awesome. And John Harbaugh saw it, and he had a decision to make, and he knows, okay, I like being the head coach of the Ravens. I have to make a decision now with Flacco and Lamar Jackson. If I stick with Flacco, who won me a Super Bowl, who we've been through the ups and downs together, I mean, that's really what coaches do, but I'll get fired because Lamar Jackson's the future. And if Lamar Jackson doesn't believe in me, he'll tell the coaches, coaching staff, he'll tell the front office, they'll know, yeah, maybe John Harbaugh's not the right guy for the Ravens. He was Flacco's guy, and Lamar Jackson needs a new guy. So he makes that tough decision to say, okay, sorry, Joe, you were great, but I got to make a move. And it was like both of them were swimming to shore for a life raft. And the life raft meant you get to stay in Baltimore if you're the first one there. John Harbaugh got there. And now he completely went to Team Lamar and went away from Team Flacco. And you knew Flacco was done. You knew Lamar Jackson was going to stay. So now John Harbaugh's made himself part of the future because he committed to him, and you saw the playoff run. Even though he played awful for 3.5 quarters, he almost brought him all the way back against the Chargers in the playoffs. Yeah. I mean, that was insane. You know, the way he played so bad for 3.5 quarters, you're like, Lamar Jackson, this is his big introductory time to the NFL, and here's where he needs to get. No. Then he almost brings them all the way back. And now going into this season, there's renewed optimism, hope. They moved on from Joe Flacco. And trust me, Lamar Jackson, I'll give you a bold prediction. He'll be in the Pro Bowl this year. He'll be one of the Pro Bowl quarterbacks in the AFC. He has that kind of skill set.
You know, it's funny, and I'm going to keep harping back to it, man. This leadership is such a big thing because there's something that you can't explain about getting your offensive line to block for you. Something you can't explain about having your defense buy in and say, you know, Lamar, we got your back. Because on the other side of the ball, they know he's committed to them. And every time I watch this kid have an interview, it was never about what he did. He's always, I just did my job. I did what I was supposed to do with my guys. I'm giving us a chance to win. I'm giving my team an opportunity to be successful. And that's what helped Lamar Jackson be Lamar Jackson. Obviously, we can pick his game apart. He can't throw. He can't make multiple reads. All you got to do is run the ball. If you're going to win, you're not scoring over 20 points. It's an ugly style of football in which in today, I'd have told you can't make the playoffs playing like that. Defense wins in the NFL. Are you kidding me? But his leadership qualities have prevailed. And I got to give my hats off to Harbaugh. He wouldn't have had that success if from day one he was just the starting quarterback. If day one they said, you know what, Flacco, we draft this kid in the first round, you're on the bench. Because Lamar Jackson got to see what the NFL is, got to play a minimum number of snaps, came in some wildcat situations, some special situations. He got a feel for the game. And then when his opportunity was set, he was already knowing what he should have expected, okay? And when he jumped in there, he did well. He did extremely well. So as I watch those plays, as I watch what he's done, I can't help but feel the same way that you feel about the success that he's going to have just because his leadership qualities, man. And there's nothing to be said about, like, it's hard. Like, we can't put it down on a piece of paper. When you want to play for a quarterback or you want to play for a guy, you just believe, like Rondo, he's a guy I feel that way about. Rondo can't shoot a lick, but guess what?
That's the first jumper of his career when the game winner he hit against the Celtics.
I'll run through a wall for him. I'll run through a wall for Rondo today.
The brick wall he hits with his jumpers, you'll run through that wall?
I will run through that brick wall of jumpers anytime.
You know, the other thing that gets me about Lamar Jackson, this gets into our conversation about Kyler Murray that we've had the last couple of days, is that Lamar Jackson showed that, you can kind of blow up your team in the middle of the season and go to a quarterback whose skill set is completely different from your incumbent and play pretty well. You know, this whole, sometimes mentally, you get an idea of something that just sounds so daunting that you don't want to do it, but then you go do it, you realize, okay, well, it's not so bad. Like if you have to go to the DMV for something. I got to go stand in line. It's going to be 3 hours. I got to take the driver's test. If I fail the first time, I'm going to be there again another 20 minutes. I'm going to take the test. I got to carve out like 5 hours. Oh, my God, so mentally daunting, you push it off. Something like that. And then you wind up getting there and like, oh, the line wasn't that bad. I wound up being on the phone with a friend for it. I got right in. Oh, I passed the test the first time. Oh, it really wasn't that bad. It's so daunting sometimes to think you draft Kyler Murray, you have to change your entire offense for him. You got to change everything for him. How are you going to do it? You got to change philosophies. You got to change coordinates. You got to change everything. Well, Lamar Jackson showed us, well, you really don't. You can go from a guy who is about as immobile as anybody in Joe Flacco and change Lamar Jackson, who may be the fastest, most electrifying quarterback in the game, and you realize, oh, it actually worked okay. That was I built it up in my mind. It was so much more difficult than I thought it was going to be.
But that's the reality with Kyler Murray, too. I need to know what type of leader he is. I need to know who he is. I know he's talented. I know he's fast. I know he can throw. Obviously, we know he's short. But is he, right? Very short, all right?
Compared to you, you're 7'1".
No, he's like
99.9% of the world is shorter than you.
No, he's like short. Okay. He's like short. Like short short.
He's my height.
Yeah. But just, if you were incredibly fast and you could throw about 100 miles per hour, that's you. You're Kyler Murray. Give you a full head of hair. Okay.
No, see, that's the part I like the best.
All right. Yeah. Nonetheless, I got to see what type of leader this kid is. Is he the guy that players want to play for? Do they gravitate towards him? Do guys believe in Kyler Murray? If Kyler Murray's that guy, I'm jumping all over him with the first pick.
Twitter at How About a Fresca. Ryan Hollins with a hot take.
First
Kyler
quarterback,
Murray, number one.
First quarterback taken. I'll say not first pick, first quarterback taken.